Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Quick look here at Cardano, seeing what's going on. And if you're new to the channel, just know I love to teach people to trade. I hope you can learn something today. Thanks again so much for the wonderful feedback from my community with the signals here recently. I know they're working out very, very well. Quick little congrats to our members. Matic 56%, a previous Matic trade 83%, the Graph 52% in 3 days, BNB Dusk SKL 111% in 2.5 trading days. These are all 5 to 6x leverage trades. Okay, so awesome stuff. Congrats on these trades here. And of course, same thing with my Premium Plus group. My goodness, Matic is just scalping the crap, or my bot's scalping the crap out of Matic, if you will. I had that backwards, but anyways, this is cool stuff. Congrats to our community members. Glad it's working for you. So what we want to do here with Cardano is some pretty straightforward stuff here. Talk a little bit about backend data, and then we'll go into like the daily, 4-hour, and the hourly time frame, just to get quick perspective on each time and really help us understand where we're at. At this point, we can see there's some pretty significant trades going on here right now. In other words, a lot of liquidation at about 58 cents here for this coin, which we can see liquidation as low as 55. That was a pretty nasty candle wick. Mind you, Bitcoin sold off. It was 800 million in, was it 15 minutes or less? And that was effectively a 2.5% candle. So a 2% candle from Bitcoin did this. What would an 8 to 10% candle do? Anyways, I don't think we're going to see that per se. Just saying it's a lot, and that was very unnecessary. But that's kind of where we're at. So there are also liquidation levels at about 64 cents. So we can just say there's some remaining liquidation at 54 and 64. Okay, so we're kind of within that range. But we can see 54 here is some liquidation, pretty far off, and then 64 is this guy here. Okay, so we're kind of in the upper range there, but we're also establishing lower lows and lower highs. So keep in mind that's not fantastic. Also note, Bitcoin's doing the exact same thing, so it's not like this is an unusual circumstance at all. So just par for the course, if you will. Don't be alarmed by this nonsense. All right, so let's take a quick look at the daily. We are tentatively holding above the 20-day SMA. That's a good sign. So our ascending trend line is still in play. We can see stochastic RSI is still swinging down. We got money flow index and traditional RSI also tapering off, and MACD diverging. Not fully diverged, of course, it didn't come out any further, but the way we can summarize this is that the daily time frame minus the trend lines are looking very bearish. Okay, keep in mind we could still maintain this range. We have a strong amount of volume between 58 and 63 cents, so its average true range is looking pretty good. However, still not great. That's my personal opinion, okay? So just friendly advice, careful trading this coin here right now. Daily time frame doesn't look great. There's potential for a little bit lower. So keep in mind here, this is kind of nice though. We did have some parallel lows here. So this is not a terrible pattern going on right now. I don't really love it, but it's certainly not the worst ever. MACD is getting a little funky here. We keep seeing divergences and convergences, so I don't really trust that right now. If we do break above this 63 cent mark, that would be a cause for consideration for long. Until then, we don't want to worry about it, because in order to break a descending trend, we need to kind of, basically establish a higher high, okay, which has to be higher than the previous. So we're a little ways away from that. But again, nice recovery here. Keep in mind, Bitcoin's trending closer to 42,500. It was as low as like 41 something, 41.7, 41.8 when it wicked down. So again, some pretty nasty candle wicks there from Bitcoin today to cause this to happen. Natural knee-jerk reactions. Nothing else really kind of telling on the 4-hour time frame. The previous liquidity level have been swept. There is still that lower liquidity between 54 and 56 cents we saw earlier, but nothing to really concern ourselves with. We take a look at the hourly here. We can kind of confirm a few key things here, such as Ichimoku Cloud being above the price action. That's not a great sign, but again, it's been up above and below for a little while, being fairly range bound. So you get a lot of false positives in that sense. This is still somewhat bearish in my personal opinion, but it's not the greatest either, because the lagging span is going to intersect here within the next few hours. So when that does, it really just tells us if you have a short position open, you should have closed it. Okay. And what I mean by that too is, it's not always black and white about just getting in and getting out instantly. A lot of times it's all about, positioning into your trade and positioning out. So I always recommend in our community, again, we have this in our signals guide. Make sure you read through this, because you need to understand how the signals work. And what I recommend in most cases is for entry targets, you divide your entry targets based on how many targets you're taking. So if you have 2 targets, you 50% in, 50% in, twice. And then profit targets, you want to take 65 to 80% profit on your first target, and then you adjust your stop loss to break even. Price pulls back to break even, then you are still walking away in the green, okay? is a really solid strategy that I have in place. It keeps me profitable like 95% of the time. Okay, so there's just different ways to strategize. I prefer not to, go for the gusto and be one of those Mac daddies on Twitter, showing everybody how awesome my 10,000% return was. I'd much rather have, a bunch of 50 to 100% gains, like I shared with you already, and essentially have that add up in my portfolio instead. There's different strategies, not to say one's better than the other, just, I'm tired of, or I got tired of, that tumultuous, terrible feeling of getting liquidated. It sucks so bad. Haven't gotten liquidated in years now at this point. Okay, so awesome stuff there. Be sure to check that out again, cryptocash.tech if you're curious. The last thing we want to look at here would just be TD sequential. We're not really overextending ourselves in either direction, so that's fine. And then there is just, again, this upper liquidity level here at about 63.5 that could be swept. It doesn't have to happen right now, but it could be swept soon. So again, a long position to that level wouldn't be terrible, a good 4 or 5%. And those are kind of gains that I like to look for, okay? So hopefully this was descriptive and helpful for you. What's also helpful too, and thank you again for the wonderful feedback from my community and how great this exchange is treating you. I know I love it too. Go ahead and check out Bitunix, link down below, phenomenal exchange. If you use my link, however, you get some significant benefit rewards, which are available until year end. So make sure you utilize that before it goes away. But again, phenomenal exchange, super, super recommended. No KYC, no VPN, of course, but they have like trailing stop losses, multiple profit targets, things you don't see in other exchanges. Thanks again. All right, folks, have a great rest of the day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.